One of the most serious problems I saw coming into the school was the peer pressure about the gang activity. Gang activities as far as kids forming groups of gangs within that particular school, where it would be one room against another room or one room against one student. I saw the kids bringing their problems from the street into the schools. I saw the possibility kids bringing weapons into the schools, fighting, and behavior problems as far as not respecting the teachers or not having any self-discipline or being able to behave in a controlled environment such as a school.
The neighborhood in which the students have to pass in order to get to school. In the neighborhood of the Langston school, there are definitely identified territories and gangs that can have some effect upon the students as they walk to school from their house.
One of the problems that I see as being a blockage or a stumbling block to this particular learning that we are all striving to have is this fear that many of our students have of what is going to happen to them in their community, what will happen to them on the way to school, leaving school, and much of it involves the teenage gangs.
When we first entered the schools, the kids had to first figure out why we were there. They didn't understand. They didn't believe us. They didn't trust us. They were so used to the police in a negative way. They were used to the police coming to their house, locking up someone. So when we first came into the school, they had to first feel us, and we also had to feel them. It was more of we had to gain trust among each other.
Developing a rapport with the children, me and Jill tried to concentrate on networking 3 groups. To learn about the kids, we tried to network the 3 groups between the police department, the student faculty, the students, faculty, and the parents. We tried to get information from the faculty and from the kids and from the parents in order to help solve these kids' problems.
The officers assigned to the Langston School have been able to work with the parents, the students, the administrators, and the teachers. I very definitely see great change in the behavior of the groups of kids, that they have been able to work with.
Myself and Officer Robinson are responsible for 2 schools, Langston and Stowe. Both schools are in each school zone. We're also responsible for a 3-block radius of the school zone. We have addressed several problems in that school zone.
Prior to school and before school let out in the evening, we would do perimeter checks. Any subjects that we thought were a negative force or created a negative image for the kids, we would conduct field interviews with those subjects. We would ask them, exactly what are you doing in the area at this time, and are you on your way up towards the school, or exactly what they were doing in the area. And a lot of times we would stop outside interference as far as gang members on their way to the schools in which we worked, heading up to the school to get into a fight with the kids getting out of the schools at Langston and Stowe. The fear of the kids coming to school and them worrying about having to watch their back, so to say, while they're at school really hindered the educational process. Kids would come to school bringing weapons to school, a lot of times in self-defense because they were afraid they were going to be jumped on.
I think because of the presence of the police officers and their relationship with the students, the possibilities of a student bringing a weapon have been minimized, if not diminished, by their presence.
One of our main tasks was the safety for the kids, ourselves, and the teachers and the staff. But first it came with getting to know the kids, figuring out who was the, quote, problem child. It also came on a one-on-one base. We came with the kids as police officers as well as friends. We've gotten with them on a one-on-one level to gain trust. And once we gained that trust, we were able to figure out what kid was, quote, the problem child and address that child at that time.
Even when I was a student and would see a uniformed officer, it would mean something is wrong. Now the students don't have that particular feeling. They know that the officers come in to speak with them on good things as well as some things are wrong, but they also come into school to deal with them on things that are positive.
The police officers here have engaged students in athletics after school. They have taken part in some of the social activities that the students are involved in. They have talked to parents in homes concerning attendance. I think the attendance rate as of this year has increased about 2% with the first quarter as compared to last year.
When kids are not attending our school, then we feel that they're doing something else. 9 times out of 10, it's in a negative way. So what we have done is try to locate those kids. We feel that it is a police problem. That's one reason why we deal with the truancy. We have taken a lot of kids, numerous of kids that have not been attending school. We have taken them to the truancy center, and every time we have picked them up, it's been in a negative way.
You know, we try to get on the buses after school, and when they come in to school in the morning, we try to talk to the bus drivers and see who's creating a problem on the bus, and we try to stop any problems that might exist on the bus that might develop into a larger problem within the classroom or within the school.
I think the kids last year had a fear of coming to school. Also, they had a fear of what color they should wear to school. This year, we do not have that problem. One thing myself and Ronnie has addressed it to the kids is that we do not have any sagging pants. We don't want the boys to wear earrings in their ears. We do not wear chronic shirts, Dr. Dre shirts, anything with drug paraphernalia on it. We do not advertise into the school. Last year, we couldn't get that from the kids. They told us they were going to wear what they wanted to wear until they figured out where we were coming from, what we stood by, and that we meant business.
As opposed to this year, last year when we first came into the schools, there was a lot of, as far as hallway activity, kids changing classes, going back and forth classes or different activities. It was real chaotic. Kids running up and down the hallways, rampant, pushing, fighting, cursing, you know, just doing whatever they wanted to do or whatever they felt like doing, and not getting to the different activity or the other class on time. When we came into the schools, we helped monitor that behavior. We helped structure that. So as of this year, upon sight, kids, you know, they just, you know, walk to the different classes and activities without any problems. We haven't had any fights in the hallways this year as opposed to last year.
And I have noticed this year a young lady in the 8th grade who has made a complete about-face, in my opinion. The pain which came out in violence last year and the semester before that, I have not noticed this year. And I think she did a lot of one-on-one counseling with one of the officers, building the self-esteem, building you-can-do attitude. And I think that has been a tremendous help to her. My feelings are very strong in terms of this is a community that we live in, that we work in, and police officers are a part of this community. When we do things that are community-oriented here at the school, we invite our older people in, we have our business owners. The police officers are a part of this community. They have a major role. And so, yes, it is necessary that the students have an opportunity to perceive them as people and as friends and as supportive, as opposed to only calling them in your school when there is a problem.
Schools, I think, only mirror what's out there in our broader society. There's a lot of violence out there in our society. Students have an opportunity to view violence on television. So I think what actually should happen, it's going to take all people of concern to come together and to formulate several plans to assist these youngsters in the kinds of experiences that are being offered to them that are negative, and to eliminate these negative experiences wherever they are.
We're actually saying we need help. We need help and we need support from everybody, the community, the police, the staff, the teachers, everybody. If there's anything that we can do, we are there to do it. But we just can't do it by ourselves. We need help.
We got to come in last year, and we can definitely see a big improvement this year. the work that we laid, the foundation that we laid last year has carried over into the school year this year. We see a lot of more positive activity out of the students. We see a positive atmosphere. You know, teachers are able to come to school and not worry about having to go home in the evening or worry about a kid jumping on them, and kids are able to come to school and do the same. Problems still exist, and if you remove the uniform officer out of that school, which has been evident at other schools like Sumner and other high schools, which you see now as opposed to last year, you know, that problem is going to come right back, that violent problem.